Good evening, everybody. I am here with a group of wonderful friends and experts, and we're here at FYI After Dark, just like we promised, 6 o'clock p.m. I want to welcome all those on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure you all like, share, and make sure you comment. We want you engaged in this conversation. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to introduce, first of all, my co host, Mr. Edward Everett, aka Mr. E. Want to introduce our wonderful guest. We have the Love Doctor, none other than Tony Villa. Good evening, Tony.
Good evening.
So
Yay.
good to have you. And then we have our beautiful life coach, Miss Rhonda Driver. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Oh,
And her wonderful husband. She's been telling us about him for the longest time. Mr. Driver, how you doing this evening?
I'm great.
Look, I am so glad that you all are able to join us. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourselves. We're going to start with Miss Rhonda Driver, and then her husband, and then Mr. Tony Veer.
Well, I am Coach Rhonda. This is probably what about my third time joining you guys. I'm just always excited
Yes.
to talk with you guys. I started life coaching, really life coaching, probably about, I would say about 7 years ago, and then I moved into mental health coaching, and so I'm just excited. I've written a few books, and I'm just happy to be here with you guys tonight to talk relationships. And tonight I have my husband, which this is going to be very interesting for us because
I can't wait. Yes.
this is going to be extremely interesting for us because he's the opposite kind of me. I'm more vocal. He's really, really quiet. So we're gonna see what he has to say tonight. But he may fool us.
He may fool you. He may have a lot to say, but thank you all for joining us. Mr. Tony Veer, the Love Doctor. Tell everybody about yourself.
So, hello, everybody. My name is Tony Veer. I am the love coach, love doctor, love guru, whatever you want to say, I'll be that. And I have been coaching unintentionally since 2000, but I really found out in 2006 that people was bothering me. Yo, you got to
Wow.
coach me, man. So it took me 2 years for me to get it. I felt like Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty, where God just wouldn't leave me alone until I said, okay, fine, maybe I should really take this thing on. So I've been coaching seriously and professionally since 2008. I started a business called the Relationship Mastery Institute because I want people to be able to have relationships be as simple as driving or riding a bicycle. And I know how to help you do that because problems cannot be solved at the same level of thinking that created them. And I know how to raise your level of consciousness so that you can actually see how to make relationships work. So that's what I'm
Absolutely.
here for, and that's what I do.
Mr. E, tell everybody a little bit about yourself as well.
I'm Mr. E. I'm the co-host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show, heard all over the globe, from YouTube, from WPCE 1400, 95.3 FM, WBXB, WPCE 1400, and WMVA 88.9 FM.
Wow, thank you. And I'm your host again, Yolanda Hinton, and we've been doing this for 7 years. We do FYI morning show. So many topics, wonderful guests like we had on today. We just have a good time. I want to say good evening to Miss Naturally Chrissy Marie. How are you, beautiful lady? Thank you so much for joining us. And you all that see us, please make sure you comment so we can shout you out and also have you engaged in this conversation. This evening, Miss Fiona Sharon Huff, thank you. She says, hello, family. Yeah, we're pulling them in, and I believe we're going to have a great group for a great group of people. You know, I not only do the show, but I am executive director of Crystal Community Development Corporation, and I love what I do. We mentor young girls and young boys. We develop young leaders, and we give back to the community. If you all want to know more about what we do, just visit our pages. Go to my page, Yolanda Hinton, on all the platforms, social media platforms. You can go to Edward Everett, go to Tony Beer. They're going to give that contact information at the end anyway. And Coach Rhonda, you'll see all that they do. And they do a lot of things. And we want you all to make sure you go and like their pages, make sure you subscribe to their pages and listen in, because they got a lot of great tidbits, a lot of relationship information, and they wouldn't mind coaching you if I'm right. What you think, Rhonda? Some of you, anyway.
Absolutely. We just recently started Matters of the Heart, and that kind of came out of just really family talk. Thanksgiving, Christmas, you sit around and you're talking about different things. And so we decided, let's, make it public and let's get people engaged in talking, because I'm trying to listen to understand now,
Yes.
instead of just, and men and women, they say what men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right?
Yes.
Different perspectives. So I wanted to do something to engage women and men to really just start listening to one another, because I think that may be the breakdown.
Yeah.
We're not hearing actually what each other are saying. And so I'm trying to get it right.
I got a chance to peek in because I was kind of like going through the social media, and I saw you, Coach, and it looked really good. You had like a panel discussion, people
Yes.
around the table, and I thought it was wonderful. And I said, oh my goodness, she is definitely going to reach a lot of people and help them to realize who they are and become more well-rounded with the platform that you have. So congratulations.
Everybody involved, don't just listen to what we say. We want to hear what everybody else is saying as well, so that we're learning from them, they're learning from us. And it really has opened up the dialogue between men and women to really start to listen, to understand. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Now, look, this is the love month. This is February, and we just finished Valentine's Day. I want to talk about relationships and dating and how to find that love thing. And so, when you all think about relationship, I think you could go a million ways, because there are so many, first of all, so many kind of relationships in our day and time now. We're not just dealing with male and female relationships. We have relationships that are same-sex relationships. We have plural marriages. We have biracial, you name it. And as experts, I want to know what you all think. And we're going to start with Tony. When you think about relationships and bringing information to all those that are now, have invented just new ways of doing things and new ways of being a family, what's on your mind as a love expert?
Well, when I think about relationships, I think about relating, as in, we're connected to each other. We're on the same page. One of my insights or tips is that if we just paid attention to 4 and 5-year-olds, we can make this work, because our most favorite thing is to play, whether we're playing through our life purpose or our favorite aspiration or whatever. And so if we're with somebody that want to play the same games, what's better than that, really? And now you're communicating on the same page. You love doing the same things together. It's like, my life wouldn't be right if you wasn't with me. Come on, let's go. So for me, that's it. And it's so simple when you think about it. We complicate it, which is what makes it so hard. But 4 and 5-year-olds get it like that. Then we listen to grown-ups and then we forget.
Wow. Coach, what do you think? Relationship, especially as a life coach, I can imagine how it's like, whoa, a whole different world dealing with so many different styles and people and love.
Right. I think he's correct in what he's saying. It's about how we relate to one another. If you look at a 4 and 5-year-old, when they're faced with something, they're not trying to pick out the ways it's not going to work. They're trying to come together and see how is it going to work. And I think we do complicate things because we try to look at, so many things that are wrong instead of trying to find, well, what's the center? What do we have that's right? Let's build from that. And so, when you're coaching people as couples, I try to deal with the individual first, because if I can change the way that you think about the situation, then I can get you to kind of buy into seeing it from your partner's perspective.
Yes, Mr. Driver. I want to know how something so beautiful can get so complicated in your eyes. Where does love go wrong, or where does it what happens? Things start off well, and then all of a sudden there are so many challenges. How can something so beautiful end up sometimes just being a little mixed, scrambled eggs? I'll put it like that.
Well, I'm not the expert, but I think being attentive, it kind of goes off you get complacent and it kind of like just goes out the door. You know how they say, you got to do what you used to do, to keep them. That kind of like goes right out the door. When you was dating, all that goes away. So we got to get back to it, how we got them. And I guess that's
absolutely it. Mr. E, set up a scenario, the hunt. We're going to talk to you men.
Well, wait a minute. I want to interrupt
Go ahead, Tony.
I just got to say, Mr. R, that's your new nickname, Mr. R. I want you to know that you got to give yourself more credit than you're giving yourself right now, man, because you wouldn't be there right now if you didn't know what you were doing, my brother. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing there.
Okay.
I'm just speaking on world like other folk, I'm just as another coach.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, Mr. E, I want you to set up a scenario.
One of the
Mr. Driver, hold up. Mr. Driver said you start off good, and you all, I'm going to talk to the men first. You all start off with the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, y'all are good at hunting.
Excellent at hunting.
Is that right, Coach?
Excellent.
They're good at hunting. Tell us about the hunt. Tell us about when you all first, get to pursue, and then something happens. But tell us about that hunt first.
When we begin to look for, when we go out to and hunt for, we're thinking that we're hunting for the right person. We allow Cupid to shoot the arrow, and they say sometimes Cupid is stupid, because there are a lot of people that has relationships that go sour. There are a lot of people that once you start, like Mr. Ara, he started out. He had the club in his hand, and he when he went out there, he saw Miss Rhonda, hit her in the head with the club, drug on back home, and when she came to her senses, she was ready to go to the left, because she said he didn't have to hit her like that. So now, but he called it love. She called it no. I call it abuse. Now, do we continue to do that every now and then? She said the same way he said, since he said the same thing it took to get her, he got to do the same thing to keep her. So, Mr. Driver, go into your closet, get that club, and hit her again.
Mr. E is from the cave. Mr. E, you must be in the cave. Tony, come on in here and tell us about the hunt.
So when you hunt,
let me hear from Tony's perspective. The hunt. Let's talk about the hunt.
So the best hunters also know when the game that they're out to hunt is actually hunting invisibly as well, because the Marvelettes back in the 1960s, they had a song called "The Hunter Gets Captured by the Game."
Yes.
They wasn't messing around, because sometimes the hunter thinks he's hunting the game when the game is actually the real hunter.
That's right.
So you got to pay attention to who's who, what's what, and how's it going. Right? You can't, if you blind yourself, you was in troubles. Big time. The other part about it is another love song from back in the day. This was Smokey Robinson and Miracle's first song called Shop Around. Just because you become a young man now, there's some things that you don't understand now.
So you better shop around.
Right, you gotta shop around. And his mama told him that. It wasn't like some other guy told him that. Take your time and like don't mess around because you're gonna get hurt. Because we over there, we hunting, we successful, we've been playing basketball and boxing and winning games and stuff. And all of a sudden we think we can win everywhere. Nah, that's the women's turf. We need to wake up and get educated. So that's my thing.
Now, do we take our time? Let's think about it. When it comes to the hunt, meeting, and falling in love, are we taking our time? Coach, as a life coach, what do you see in relationships, or what do you see from those that you deal with or your clients? Do they tend to jump too quick into relationships? Is that something that you have to manage along with coaching them in business and things? Are people too much in a hurry to get connected and get into a relationship?
I think it's not so much that people are in too much of a hurry, but what I'm finding out is people are not having tough conversations up front or courageous conversations up front. Like, you need to be asking some serious questions in the because I think sometimes we tend to everything is looking good at first, and there's things that we want to know, but we're afraid to ask because we're thinking if we ask this, that's going to run them away. And I really like this person, so I really don't want to ask that. But I'm telling you, you better have those tough conversations initially, or you're going to run into that down the road if you don't talk about it up front.
Yes, we have some feedback. Leisha Neal says, keep the hunt on your mind and always remember all men hunt. So don't let another man catch her. All men hunt.
That's a true statement. That's a true statement because sometimes when you're hunting, when you're a hunter, there's always somebody else trying to hunt too. So you have to, do your best when you're hunting so that the other cat that you're hunting, that's hunting also, won't catch what you want. But here's the kicker part about it, that she knows which one that she wants. She knows exactly which one's on her mind. It reminds me of if you don't mind, a dog in heat. You got 15 male dogs running behind one female dog. She already knew who's gonna catch her. Out of all these cats are tearing down the fences. They tear down the doors. They go out and run all night long, thinking that they're scholars and stars. They're hunting like crazy. They're knocking over trash cans, just trying to get the hunt. But she knows exactly who's going to catch her. So, when men are hunting, you got to bring your A game. You got to bring your A game because the first impression is a long impression. What you think, Mr. DeVille?
Absolutely right. And there's something else that's missing that's gigantic, which is hunting is good. Catching is good. But if you don't know how to tell who's who because you don't know how to qualify somebody, that's the whole problem right there. Most people don't know how to tell whether this person is really good or not. So not having those intimate, tough conversations, not knowing how to qualify. Companies know how to get staff better than people know how to get a relationship partner. It's a daggone shame. So if I was going to put anything in there, if I was Mr. X of the X-Men, and I could just put this in everybody's mind at the same time, is learn how to qualify whether this person fits you or not. Because unless that happens, it don't matter how charming, smooth, or effective he is, it ain't gonna work.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Now, Coach mentioned about how, what we bring to the table or the things that we should be talking about. When people get together, are they talking about finances? You want to get with me, you want to get together and be my boo or my man or my woman or my wifey or whatever. there are questions to be asked. There are some things that you need to know. You need to know where this person comes from. I know it sounds old school, but who's your family? What's your roots? Who's in your bloodstream? What's your money like? What kind of mentality do you have? I may see you from the outside and you may be fine as wine, but honey is some things that I need to know that haven't been disclosed yet. What's your past and who you've been loving, and are you in your right mind? These are things that we need to discover about people. And I really believe that sometimes we, don't take the time, like Coach was saying, to get to know who people are. A lot of people get together just like that, and then they have to go through the discovery of, well, I didn't know you was like that. I didn't know you, didn't know how to treat folk. I didn't know. And sometimes we need to stop and get to know who a person is. And I really believe that's going to be key in helping a relationship. Not just going by the surface. There's so much that's in a person that we need to see. Some things that we'll discover, and some things they'll discover about themselves that they don't know in interacting with us. Sometimes things come out of us that we don't realize it until we interact with someone or get with someone. And so we really got to do our homework. What do you all think? I mean, I really believe that I got to get to know you by heart. I got to, if I'm dating, we're dating, we get to know, but when I get into a relationship, I need to ask the questions. Do you want children? Do you want to be in a long-term relationship? Are you a mama's girl, or a mama's boy? Or I need to know a lot of things, Tony. I need to know, and they need to know about me. Right. What do you think?
The three biggest things that need to be clarified is, what kind of life are we going to live together? How are we going to blend our lives together? That's exactly what you're talking about right now. Mm-hmm. Another thing is, how am I going to get over the doubts that I'm having? Because after the infatuation stage is over, then you start seeing things about the person that you never noticed before. So how are you going to handle that? You're going to accept them the way they are and the way they aren't? Or are you going to try to change them? Or are you just going to make them wrong for every time they don't? And then the third thing is, are they really going to be intimate with each other? When I mean intimate, I mean vulnerable. I mean expressive. I mean speaking everything. No withholding allowed. That's actually one of my must-have lists. No withholding. You're not allowed to withhold. You can keep secrets, so you could do things like surprises and birthday parties on me. But other than that, you cannot withhold no information. So if they can't handle those three, or they don't even know those three exist, I don't see how it's going to work.
You know, sometimes when we're talking about relationships, a lot of people judge the book by its cover and never open up the book. Mm-hmm. And so I think that what needs to happen is we have to get together and open up the book before the cover can look good. The cover is appealing. That's what's happened to a lot of us are sitting here now. Before we read the book, we look at the cover, and the cover gets our attention. So now we know we got a good book. But when we open up the book could be just as tore up from the floor, messed over and messed around. And so I really think, like Mr. V said, that you need to go ahead and open up the book and talk about the cover of the book and the inside of the book. What do you think, Mr. Driver?
I'm like, well, one of the things that my wife says, she says, you're dating for a purpose. What's the purpose of your dating? What's the purpose of you, going on to live with this person? So if you don't have a purpose, I mean, it's not even a need to look at the cover. Just like you say, the hunt. If somebody else is hunting, the woman, she's gonna position herself to where that hunter gonna catch her anyway. So
that's right. That's right. It's no if, ands, or but. She already have in her mind who's going to catch her. She's going to see. A lot of people get into relationships sometimes, Mr. Driver and Mr. Veal and Coach Driver. It's because, one, there's a need. You know, some people you get it gets in a relationship not because they're in love. They get there because they need. There's a need, and is that true? Is that a true relationship? Because when the money dries up, when the funds and it's gone, do you take a hiatus too, or do you think that's fair for anybody, Miss Hinton or Mr. Driver, Miss Driver Coach, just to go after a need, supply my need? That's what I want you for.
Well, you can do that. You can start that, but are you going to be able to love each other in the dark?
Wow.
Lights get turned on. You know, I think we use love so loosely. You know, we love at the altar, and we stand and we say for better or for worse. But when worse comes, we can't handle worse because we're not really, love is something. Love is a decision to me. It's not based on anything in return. So if I say I love you, that means I'm loving you to the end. I'm not gonna, when things start going south, I can't just bail because, you didn't do what I said. I believe anything can work when you have two people that have the same intent. And so when you go into a relationship, what are we doing here? Are we just coming together just to say that, now we can split the bills, or just to say that we can make some babies? But what is our purpose?
Yes.
Come together? Because think about it. When you're trying to come together with something, to me, I always say it's like an organ transplant, right? When you get that new kidney, okay, the body don't notice new kidney. So
Yes.
it automatically sometimes starts rejecting it. So how do you get it to now come on and take on this new person? So somebody has to be willing to give up something, submit in some ways. And a lot of times we just don't do that because we're so in love in the beginning. We love when they hunting, because when they hunting, they bring in their A game.
Absolutely.
They bring the best.
Tracy Porter said, if you don't have, Mr. E, put that back up there, please. Tracy Porter said, if you can't, what? She said something about something. If your money is funny, you can't be my honey. Okay, now look, let's address it, because that's one of the questions that we have from one of our viewers about money. We're gonna talk about that, but let's address that. If your money is funny, you can't be my honey. What y'all think? You can't look. Should a woman or whoever, get in a relationship with somebody that, don't have those, coins?
Well, money might be right, but he might like to fight. So you gotta look beyond the money. That's why you gotta have them conversations. You gotta be paying attention to some things. How does he act when certain things don't go his way? So he could have all the money, but he could be going upside your head too. So you got to be paying attention.
Is it really about the money?
Is it really about the money? That's the question.
About the money?
Well, because I can help you get money.
Because here's another question. Here's another thing that we have to understand about this. If somebody said it's about the money, if your money is funny, then you can't get the honey. Is that all that it takes? If that's all, is it about a relationship, about money?
Yeah,
that's something that we should be discussing. That people should discuss, Mr. E. And I feel like, if you're going to be in a relationship, honey and money, I don't know how those two meet, but I really feel as though that's one thing that should be discussed. And that was a question from one of our viewers asking if they're in a relationship and there's one that money is not as good, or someone is not making as much, is that going to cause a problem in the relationship?
Yes, it's going to cause a problem. There's different degrees in every man and woman. There's some that has pedigrees, then some that are what you call mutts. Some folks has a background where they got They got family members, got gold, they got money, and some of them just broke as Joe's turkey, and some of them just bad boys, So is that what they want? They know that once you accept a relationship, you got to go in it for good, bad, and indifferent. You just can't go in there in a relationship, Brother Tony. You just can't go in there and because she got some money, there must be a pride in every man and every woman that because now I got to go to her and ask her for a quarter. I got to go to her and ask her for 50 cents. No. Now you become codependent, so you got to bring more than just some finance. If we going to be there together, we got to be there together regardless, because we're going to have some good days and we're going to have some bad days and we're going to have to struggle a little bit. Are you willing to go through the battle with me?
What you think, Tony?
I think that one, when women are concerned about money, it's really not so much the money, it's the safety and security. Without having the money, how can I know that the rent's going to get paid? And am I going to be out on the street or not? Am I going to have enough food? So it's more of a safety and security thing than a materialistic thing, except for those with the 5 love languages where gifts is their love language. Now those could be gold diggers, could be, you know what I'm saying? But otherwise, they're just worried about safety and security. And so if we take care of everything, take away every safety and security issue, they're going to feel safe and secure around us. And then we're going to feel successful. Because one of the greatest gifts, if not the greatest gift that a woman gives to a man is to acknowledge us because we are successful.
That's
when
it.
a woman feels that we're taking care of them, she's like, "Oh my God, you're my hero." And we're like, "Oh my God, we're your hero." And that's the whole thing. As a matter of fact, that even enhances and what kicks in romance in the first place. Because when he's doing his job and she's like, "Oh my God, you're doing such a good job." He's so grateful. He gonna bring you some flowers. You know why? Thankful that you're grateful for him. And so women don't realize that they don't want to start the romantic relationship in the first place with their gratitude and their thankfulness for everything he does. And so I got a tip for the men. Men, you need to understand this statistic, this practice I'm telling you right now. It's called, and I said this on the last show I think we did, called take away, comma, now what? This is you look at her problems, you listen to her complaints, and then when she's not looking, you take them away. And then she'll start noticing, wait a minute. He took that away. He must be paying attention to me. And when she realized you're deeply paying attention to her, then you are now making her feel so safe and secure. She's gonna be happy every time she see you. Because she's complaining, and she know eventually you're gonna take away without her telling her, and then you're gonna get the honey, if you know what I'm saying.
Coach, I want to ask Coach about a checklist. As a lifestyle coach, I know there are certain things that your clients have to do. Do you recommend a checklist for a lady or a man? Going down the list saying, "This is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is what I need to do." How can a list or something like that benefit a person that wants to be in a relationship?
I always ask people, and most people do have a list. I want this, I want that. And so when they come to me with the problem, okay, where is this on your list? And then, but see, what women tend to do is they'll create this list, but then they say it's a list of 10 things, right? Mm-hmm. He's doing the 9, but he's not doing the 10th thing. And so women will bend a little bit thinking they're going to change him to do the 10. And somewhere along the line, you're going to have to draw the line on your list. If they're not meeting the list, then don't think they're going to meet the list later on. They've already shown
wow.
they're not. And so now then you get into trying to change them, and a man does not want to be changed.
So how about the do's and the don'ts? Mr. Driver, either Tony or one at a time, the do's and the don'ts of dating or being in a relationship with your significant other.
Yeah, Mr. R, go ahead. You go first.
The do's and the don'ts.
Some of the do's. What should somebody do in making a good relationship, and what shouldn't you do? You know, what's some of the things that you need to stay away from, and stay off that topic, or stay off of, you know, that statement or something when it comes to matters of the heart.
Here's a do for you.
Okay.
I help you out, Dr. Rhonda, Mr. Driver. I help you out. Do check the expiration date of the product.
What does that mean?
That means just like you go to the milk, if you go to buy some milk, milk has an expiration date on it. Now, give them a certain amount of time to prove themselves that they are what you're looking for. If you'll know within a certain amount of time if they're gonna be for you or not.
Somebody said, look at a woman's mom. That's her in the future. Can we go? Should we go by that? I think that's got to.
You know, if they don't prove themselves to be your helpmate, then you got the wrong person. If you started out in a relationship and they gonna tell you that I'm with you, and then every time you turn around, if you say, "Oh, I can't do this today," then guess what? They ain't with you. Check the expiration date, and also, you know, give them opportunity to prove themselves to you. See, men has a tendency of shutting down on you. Men will not talk once you back him into a corner. He'll shut down on you because he's looking for you to put your end of the bargain. He's looking for you to understand him because men don't have the right words to say. And you got to remember, so many women has a tendency of bringing the encyclopedia and bringing the dictionary and got Google in their pockets. And what they're doing, if he say a word that has 9,991 definitions, and he said, and he did not, and she think that he did not choose the right definition according to him, then she'll jump at you in a different way, and then a man will shut down.
And there's another thing that makes men shut down.
What's that?
It's a one-word term. Fine.
Oh,
Run out the room.
You hit it right there. A woman can say a certain word and look a certain way. Brother, I ain't gonna get you in trouble, but brother driver, have you ever seen her do like that? And what happens? What happens when she do that to you?
I'm a sucker then.
Look, we have a question that came up. I want you all, anybody can answer it. It says, why do men stay in bad relationships? And you know, we always talk about a woman, she'll stay, with a man for the long haul, and, she'll suffer in silence and stuff like that. But this individual wants to know why a man would do the same way. Why do men tend to stay in bad relationships as well? Tony.
My first observation is because they don't want to be lonely.
That's
Just
it.
don't want to be lonely.
It.
Other than that, if they wasn't worried about that, they would go.
That's
but if
right.
they don't want to be lonely, they'll stay.
And then a second thing that we have to understand about a man is this: he has invested in you. He has an investment, and sometimes a man has put all of his earnings into one pot. And now, if he had to break camp, he don't want to be out on the corner standing there looking like he's in Zozo land, And that's what's happening to a lot of brothers that we see on the corner. They had invested in a family that they think that's going to be there with them for the long haul. And then somebody comes up or something happens, and they said bye boo, and now they're standing out on the corner with a sign that says "Help me."
Yep.
And plus, what the fathers always said, boy is cheaper to keep her.
That's right.
We
They
hear
have
that.
that in their head as well. And so they don't want to lose, like you said, what they've invested. And so they'll just, say, I'll just, stay because it is cheaper to keep.
Absolutely. Someone wants to know if finding love on the World Wide Web, hold up, is that a good way to find someone in a relationship? How do you all feel about online dating and things like that?
I know some couples who it has worked for. So I just think you have to be careful with it, but it can work. Because I know people who now are married, have been married for years and they met online. So I think, each case is different. It just depends on, how you work it.
Yes. Someone else wants to know what is the number one thing you look for in a partner? What should you be looking for in a good partner?
I'll step in on that one. You want somebody that wants to live the same kind of life like you. So, for example, when I think about this, I always think about the Bill Cosby show. I know he's a criminal and all that, but this show at the time, he was America's dad because
Yeah.
him and his wife was all about family. Yes, when they left the house and they left each other, it was all about entrepreneurship. But when they came home, it's all about family. And so it was like, this is what we're doing together. I love you. We love doing the same thing. They were playing in their sandbox together, doing
Yes.
their favorite thing together with their favorite person in their favorite place. And so that would be the number one qualifier for being in a relationship with the perfect person.
Yes, we have Leisha. Leisha says sometimes it's fear of starting over. For the other question we have, especially if he has made years of investment. Mark Howard also says, don't any person that drain your peace, it won't be good. Don't be with anyone that drains your peace, it won't be good. Okay, I tell you what. Also, let me see, we have a few more things that people want to know. How to keep the relationship strong when the other person has lost their job, or they don't make as much, or they can't seem to climb up as high as that next person. How can you keep that relationship strong? Because money plays a big role in marriage or any relationship. You really have to have those coins to, even dating. My son, he's single, and he says dating is like expensive.
That's right. That's right. You got to have that do-re-mi. You got to have some fallback on money. You got to have a.
But what if you don't? What if somebody loses their job? How do you keep, Coach? Let me ask Coach. How can you keep the relationship strong? You think when one has to bear the infirmities of the other one, and sometimes a woman may lose her job, and a man may lose his. Is it a double standard if a man says, look, I lost my job, you're gonna have to carry me, you're gonna have to help me till I get better? What do you think, Coach?
I don't think it's really hard for a woman to do that. I think when she has those outside forces, those girlfriends in her ear, I think it makes it hard. If we look at that movie Acrimony, she just kept believing, just kept supporting, because then when he did make it, when he did come up, then she wanted him back because she knew she had invested that time, but she wasn't willing to stick it out until the end. So I think if it's the man or the woman that finds himself in a tough place, I think if you're in partnership eliminates weaknesses. So when one person is going through, or one person is weaker in an area, if your partner can then step up, because this is a team, I say that all the time. I'm not fighting you or working against you. We're a team. Team driver is going to win. So, when I win, he wins. When he wins, I win. And so I think if each person would keep that going into a relationship and maintain it, I think you can overcome anything.
What we fail to really look at things in a sense, and I believe is this: from the start, from the beginning, we never look at the history of the person that we are trying to catch. We only know, we never look at where they come from, how their family members. We all know we got an Uncle Green somewhere, Uncle Jojo somewhere that's drunk all the time. But is your parents like that? A lot of couples get upset because they got some Down syndromes in their family. And then when they have their child has a little Down syndrome, and they fail to realize that there is some passed down history of different people that's in our family that has that Down syndrome. Do we go all the way back to the starting point of the relationship, or getting to know you better to find out the history of who you are, and what's going on in your lifestyle, or do we take them at ground level where we met them at, and say, listen, we can start from here and move on up?
Coach, your comment on that, Mr. Tony Beer.
Yeah, I'm listening, and what's popping into my mind is this movie from back in the day, won an Academy Award, called A Beautiful Mind. A Beautiful Mind was when this guy was insane, but his wife never left him. He was a professor, but he had schizophrenia, and he was losing his mind, talking to himself and all of this stuff. And she was going to leave him a couple of times, but she ended up not leaving him. Turned out he ended up winning I forget what they call it, the Nobel Prize for finance. And because she stayed with him no matter what. He was insane. He was crazy. He had like 3 different characters, and they all throughout the movie, but she never gave up on him. And he finally came back around and got whole and complete because she never gave up on him. The only thing that she could stay there for was love, nothing else. And so what I learned is that there's only 3 ways you could deal with that kind of situation. 1, you love them no matter what, whether they succeed or not. 2, you know how to help them, and then you help them, because if you've got a musician as a partner and you could be an agent, you helping them. You know how to help them directly. Or if you don't know how to help them and it's going to bother you 5 years from now if they don't do it on themselves, you should leave early. Because the sooner you get bad news, the better that bad news is, and the better you can take care of yourself. But I believe in love. When I saw that movie, I'm like, if she could do that, anybody can do that.
And another thing, Mr. Tony, is this. We have accepted folks for good, for better, or for worse. If a woman's figure 8 turn into a figure O, and her eye moves into the middle of her head, you got to continue to love her. If a man gets sick, and he get on his bed of affliction, do you throw him in the trash can and leave him, or do you continue to love him? Because you have taken a vow, you have said this, you have said that. What you gonna do? Do you throw him away, or you continue to help hold him up, to build him up, or just let him go?
Yes, I want to ask Coach a couple of questions, and then I want you to give your information on how people can follow you, and if they're looking for a life coach and they want to, contact you. But Coach, how do you deal with counseling male and female? Can you be unbiased when it comes to women? And I'm asking this because there was a pastor in this area who was a counselor, and she couldn't keep herself from siding with the woman. Every time a woman would come to her and say, I'm having a problem, and the first thing she would say, that she was known for this, the first thing she would say to her is, leave them. She didn't care what the circumstance, if the woman was in fault or not. How do you keep from taking sides? How can you just, if you need to counsel or help a couple, and counsel them, if it's male or female, how do you keep from doing that?
Because there's 2 people. I don't think you can take sides. Okay. So, and the way I look at it is, I try to make sure that everybody's doing their part. Because if you're are you doing your part just only when he's doing his part? I ask him, are you doing your part only when she's doing your part? Because if you're doing your part, you don't have time to worry about what's not happening over here. So a lot of times the women, are saying, well, he's not doing this. He's not spending time with me. Well, okay, let's get creative. At one point, I wasn't a big sports person, So I had to educate myself on, what it meant. At first, I never knew what a first down was, what it meant to get to a first down. So I started learning all those things because now I have to get creative to find a space where I can. So now I can talk sports, um, you know, he's a big movie person. He loves Netflix, So I got to be okay with watching the movies. I can't just say he's not spending time with me because maybe is it that I'm just wanting him to do what I want to do.
That's
Now,
right.
when it comes to the men, I tell them I don't care how tough she is, how strong she is, because I like to think I'm a pretty strong woman.
Yeah.
End of the day, I'm still delicate like a flower. I learned that from my nephew, right? So a flower at any time can have a petal fall off, right? But also, when you're watering that flower or when the sun is shining on that flower, it's going to bend in the direction where it's going. Now, what you don't want to do is let her go to work and somebody else start
Mm.
bringing some sunshine or giving some water. And she's going to start bending that way because women need to be affected and men need to be respected. So women, I make him think he can fly when he takes the trash out.
Yes.
Man, you so strong. So just, are we, so I just try to coach the individual and
Okay.
see
I,
what, I never take sides.
I also want to know, how do you have a good experience with coaching, someone in business or other parts of their lives if their relationship at home is not good? Do you ever run across that wherein, okay, somebody comes to you and they want to change their whole lifestyle and stuff, but they are really in a bad relationship and maybe need to get out? How do you get in there and cultivate that type of soil?
Well, again, it's just really, looking at the individual and what you have to, when I'm coaching somebody as a coach, I really try to bring out what you already have.
Mm.
I'm not trying to tell you anything. I'll say, okay, coaching is different than counseling. You tell me what you want, and then I can help you get there. But remember, I'm the coach. So if you come and you're unwilling to listen, or you got it all figured out, how's that working out for you? Because you have the tools already within you. It's just the decision you haven't made to move in that direction. And so that's what I try to get people to see. What is it that you want? Okay, this is what it's going to take to get there. Are you willing to do this? Because if you're not willing to do this, I mean, this is what I have. This is what I believe is going to get you there. And so it all starts with a decision.
Give your contact information to our viewers.
I am Coach Rhonda. You can find me on Facebook, Rhonda Driver, Coach Rhonda. If you put in Coach Rhonda or L2W, which is Learning to Win, that's my company, you are going to find me. That's on Instagram, on YouTube. You can Google me, and my books are on Amazon, and you can find me on any of the social media platforms.
Absolutely. Tony, I have a question for you. We talked a little bit earlier about, the changes in relationships. People are more open with love and who they love, who they want to love. We have plural marriages and we have biracial marriages and all kind of relationships now. Do you think your advice as a love doctor is one size fits all? When you talk to people, you feel like, okay, I got a cookie cutter solution for everybody. And so tell us how easy or how complicated it is to now serve a diverse group of people instead of just heterosexual love.
It's like this. Great question. Dating doesn't really change. The dating circumstances changes, right? So in the 70s and 80s there was disco. In the 1500s there was whatever they were doing with Romeo and Juliet, right? So like we don't change. Circumstances change, and then we think things change. But we always want to get started. We always want to fall in love. We always want to flirt. We always want to have sex. We always want to do all of those things. So the question is, how well do you know the fundamentals of relationships well enough to be able to apply it to circumstances as they change? This ain't the first time we had a pandemic. It's the first time we experienced a pandemic.
Yeah.
But it looks like when you look in history, every 100 years or so, there's a pandemic. And so how do people survive that? They keep surviving. Humanity keeps growing and keeps staying in existence. So something must be working. So rather than having a negative understanding, a negative mindset about it, understand the fundamentals of dating and relationships. Understand how to start conversations, how to get related, regardless of circumstances. And so that's what I do. That's number one. Number two, most of the time people don't really know who they are, and they don't know that they don't know who they are. So me helping them figure that out, then they could choose their decision, choose their emotion, choose their direction. And then I can support them to do that on a fundamental basis, whether it's, I want to be with 5 women at the same time and these 5 women want to let me. Okay. Or, one-on-one or 2 lesbians or whatever. I don't care. I just want you to understand the fundamentals so you can be happy for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Tony, give us your contact information. How can they follow you?
All right. So I have a website called the Relationship Mastery Institute, www.relationshipmasteryinstitute.com. You can find me on Facebook, Tony Veer, my personal page. I put a lot of stuff on there. And then I also have my Relation Mastery Institute Facebook business page. And I got about 28,000 followers because people like what I got to say every day. And so that's what's going on. And I'm there for you. I'm at your service.
Absolutely. Mr. E, can you give us some of the comments in the chat?
Well, when we go to the chat line, there's a lot of people that are still talking out here. Like, for example, Miss Lisa. Miss Lisa said, Coach Rhonda Driver, that's her information, L2W Learning to Win on Facebook. Now let's go to Mr. Mark Howard, and we thank him for tuning in. It depends on the individual and the time. So we got to look at life and we got to say, is the timing is right? Is the individual right? And do we have time to groom and grow each other? Sometimes, and then he said also, if you love the person, coaching and counsel will only help. These are some of the questions that so many comments that people are saying here. And then there is Mr. Mark Howard again, who says, I hope you all do a topic on love and religious one day. Love to hear that comment. Miss Hinton, when we talk like this after dark, we want to help somebody. We trying to help everybody build a relationship. And then I love to help women to understand men. I told Miss Rhonda Driver a long time ago, we had her on as a special guest on FYI. I am so willing to help men so that men can understand, so that women can understand how a man thinks. And Miss Driver, I want to say congratulations to you because you said you never knew football until you learned football. So Mr. Driver has somebody that can watch the game with him when the boys are not around. We know that you cannot be like one of the boys, but every now and then Mr. Driver wants to pick up a football and throw it at you, even if you miss. And the ball falls on the ground, he gets a kick out of that. And I think that helps build your relationship, because when everything, the streets are gone, when the boys on the corner is no longer there, and he comes home and sit down, he's looking to have a real fan, a friend and a fan, someone that can understand him. See, men are not being understood. They just, everybody is looking at him like he's don't know what he's doing, and men shut down. The children, they use children, women use children as bullets in a gun. So just to get at him, and all a man wants to be is love.
Is that all, Mr. E?
That's all a man. Am I right, brother? That's all we want to do is be loved. Am I right, Tony?
Yep, because we can do everything else.
We are a jack of all trades. We can do a whole lot of other things. That's why, Mr. Driver, that they go to the store and they on Father's Day and on Valentine's Day and get us a dollar store wrench
Oh man, that's a whole different ball game, Mr. E.
Am I right, brother?
Women,
That's right.
They don't spend no time getting, bracelets and gold changes, especially on Valentine's Day, But all they do, Mr. Beer, is go to the store and get that last minute. Today, I saw a guy going into the dollar store today and picking up a 50-cent box of candy. 50
You
cents.
in there.
he was on a budget. He was on a budget.
Day, but he said, "Hey, look, this is still the month. I'm gonna give it to him."
Well, I tell you what, we want our each one of you all to just give your last minute word for our audience. Anything you want to say about relationship or how you feel about anything. This is your time. We're gonna start with Coach Rhonda Driver.
I would just encourage everybody, if you're in a relationship and it looks like it's tough, try to listen to what your partner is saying and listen to understand. Don't listen to hear what you want to hear. Listen to really hear the heart of that person that you're in a relationship with, because their heart matters too.
Absolutely. Mr. Driver?
Well, I would say just date with a purpose. If you don't have a purpose for dating, then leave it alone.
Absolutely. Tony Beer, Love Doctor.
Yes, I would say about coaching real quick, that coaching is different from therapy, because therapy is about fixing your past. Coaching is about giving you a new future. And when you get a new future, your past is dead. So don't treat and look at coaching as if it is education or teaching in college. No, you get a new career. You expand because your past is dead. So all you got is a new future, like Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali. So take on coaching.
Absolutely. And I want to encourage you all to, to embrace love, embrace relationship, but get to know that person. I feel like we really need to take time, and not just for, that love thing, but people in general, to get to know them by heart, to not look at just a surface thing, but go a little bit deeper, who they are, what they like, how they are, if it's something good for you, because everything is not good for you. Everybody's not good for you. Take the time to find out if this is the one, if this is somebody that's going to make my life better, if I'm going to enhance someone else's life. Get to know that person, because there are things that you see from the outside that's visible, of course. Then there are things on the inside that you have not discovered yet. Then there are some secrets that haven't come out yet. And then there are some things that people don't know about themselves that soon will come out as they interact with you. And so I just hope that you all would just be encouraged and know that love is a beautiful thing. God put love here for us, and we should embrace relationships and know that it is honorable. But make sure you work at being in a good relationship. If you all need any of these services, Tony Beer, he can counsel you, and he's a love coach. He has so many different platforms that you can learn from. Coach Driver also, she can help you to become more well-rounded and become stronger in your life as you allow her to coach you. She has that service as well. Mr. E is a pastor. I know he can counsel folks. I know you see it all. I know it. And so, you all just just keep them in mind. Mr. E, tell folk how they can be a special guest with FYI After Dark or the FYI Morning Show.
I just want to let you know, just before we get ready to tell you the information, Ms. Hinton, one of the things that folks got to understand, never kick a man down when he's down, when he has fallen. Never keep a man down when he's fallen. Learn how to lift him up, learn how to dust him off, and learn how to pick him up in the midst, male or female, because we all fall down, but guess what? We can get back up again. If you like to be a special guest, if you like to be a special guest or a sponsor of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, that's FYI Radio Show, all you have to do is pick up the telephone and give us a call at 757-714-7861. Or you can inbox us at Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda Lady Hinton's Facebook page, or FYI Facebook page, or you can Gmail us at FYI Radio Show live fyi.live@gmail.com. You can join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 on WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350, 95.3 FM, and our new 88.9 WMVA out of what's the name of that city? Acromat, Virginia. Yeah, we just
yes.
station over there. So you can make sure that FYI is on almost 10 different platforms. Absolutely. And not only that, we hear all over the world.
We want to say thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to tune in with us on Wednesday, and we'll be back here Monday night. We have a lot of topics and special guests that are coming up. If you all want to be a special guest, make sure you keep that information, inbox us. And if you have a topic or something that you would love for us to discuss, hopefully Coach Driver and the Love Doctor will be back with us soon, and we can continue, because there are a lot more questions, a lot of things people want to talk about concerning relationships and other things. So we want you all that are viewing us to be blessed. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Coach. Mr. Driver, thank you. Tony Veer, you're a blessing. Mr. E, thank you all so much for being on this evening. And I want to say good night and have a wonderful evening.
2 up.
All right.
2 down. BA.
You all take care. Thank you so much.
All right.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.